You'll see the pictures. You'll see the videos. You'll see me smiling. You'll see me enjoying moments, walks, little adventures, and snapshots of everyday life. When I look back at June, one word to come to mind is perspective. If you look at my camera roll, you'll probably think June was a pretty good month. You'll see the pictures. You'll see the videos. You'll see me smiling. You'll see me enjoying New York City. You'll see family moments, walks, little adventures, and snapshots of everyday life. And honestly, those moments were very real. The smiles were real. The laughter was real. The memories were real. But what June reminded me of is that appearance can be deceiving. Because some of my biggest smiles happened on days when I was carrying the heaviest burdens. Some of the photos were taken while I was worried about things I couldn't control. Some of those videos were recorded while I was trying to figure out what my next move would be. Some of those moments happened while I was carrying questions that still don't have answers. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons life has been teaching me lately. We never really know what someone is carrying behind the scenes. We live in a world where everybody posts the highlights reels, the good moments, the celebrations, the victories. I'm definitely one. But very few people show the nights when they're lying awake thinking, the moments when they're worried, the moments when they're praying, the moments when they're trying to stay strong for everyone around them. June was one of those months for me. There were things happening in my family that weighed heavily on my heart. There were situations that reminded me that as much as I love the people in my life, I can't live their lives for them. And that's hard. That's a very hard lesson for a mother. It's a hard lesson for someone who naturally wants to fix things. I spent so much of my life trying to protect the people I love, trying to help, trying to guide, trying to make things easier. But June reminded me that everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own lessons. Everybody has their own path. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is pray, support, and trust that they'll find their way. That wasn't an easy lesson. In fact, I'm still learning it. Another thing June forced me to look at was the reality of where I am financially. Now, I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm sharing it because it's real. Financial stress has a way of touching every area of your life. It can affect your confidence. It can affect your sleep. It can affect your peace of mind. There were moments this month when I felt overwhelmed thinking about the future. Moments when I wish things were moving faster. Moments when I questioned whether I was doing enough. But what I've learned is that worrying doesn't change the outcome. It only steals today's peace. So instead of focusing on everything I haven't accomplished yet, I've been trying to focus on the small victories. The fact that I'm still moving forward. The fact that I'm still creating. The fact that I'm still showing up. The fact that I'm still believing that things can change. And honestly, that's something worth celebrating. Another thing I've been reflecting on is the fact that I turned 50 this year. 50. Sometimes I say and still can't believe it. When I was younger, I thought by this age I have everything figured out. I thought life would be neat and organized. I thought there would be fewer questions and more answers. But life doesn't work that way. What I've discovered is that every decade brings new blessings, new challenges, new opportunities to grow. And one thing turning 50 has taught, me is that peace is more valuable than perfection. I don't need everything to be perfect anymore. I don't need everybody to agree with me. I don't need to prove myself to everyone. What I want is peace. Peace in my home. Peace in my heart. Peace in my relationships. Peace in my spirit. And that becomes more important to me than almost anything. June also reminded me that growth doesn't always look the way we expect it to. Sometimes we think growth looks like success, a promotion, a milestone, a big accomplishment. But sometimes growth looks like surviving a difficult season without giving up. Sometimes growth looks like getting out of bed when you don't feel like it. Sometimes growth looks like making a phone call you've been avoiding. Sometimes growth looks like choosing faith over fear. And if I'm honest, I think that's where a lot of my growth happened this month. Not in the big moments, but in the quiet moments. The moments nobody saw. The moments when I had to decide whether I was going to keep moving forward. And I did. Not perfectly. Not gracefully every day. But I kept going. And I'm proud of that. As June comes to an end, there are some things I'm choosing to leave behind. I'm leaving behind the pressures to carry everything by myself. I'm leaving behind the belief that I have to solve everyone's problems. I'm leaving behind the guilt that comes from expectations, expecting perfection for myself. And I'm leaving behind the idea that setbacks means failure. Because they don't. Sometimes setbacks are redirection. Sometimes delays are Sometimes delays are preparation. Sometimes closed doors are protection. And sometimes the lessons doesn't make sense until much later. As I move into July, I'm carrying something different. I'm carrying faith. I'm carrying patience. I'm carrying hope. I'm carrying gratitude. I'm carrying the belief that even when I can't see the full picture, God is still working behind the scenes. I'm carrying an understanding that every season has a purpose, even the difficult ones, especially the difficult ones. And while there are still some things I'm processing, some things I'm praying about, some things I'm not quite ready to talk about publicly, I do have a feeling that this month are preparing me for something. I don't know exactly what yet, but I can feel it. I can feel that life is teaching me something deeper. And maybe some of those lessons will reveal themselves in the months ahead. Maybe some of those conversations will happen when the time is right. But for now, I'm choosing gratitude. I'm choosing faith. I'm choosing to trust the process. Because if June taught me anything, it's this. Strength doesn't always look like having all the answers. Sometimes, strength looks like continuing the journey while you're still figuring things out. Sometimes, strength looks like showing up anyway. Sometimes, strength looks like believing that better days are ahead, even when you can't see them yet. And when I look back at June, that's what I'll remember most. Not the problems, not the worries, not the uncertainty. I remember that I kept going. I remember that I kept believing. I remember that I kept showing up. Is that enough? Yes, that's enough. Thank you for taking this journey with me. This has been another episode, What Life Has Been Teaching Me. I'll see you next month for my July reflection.